Hello, ladies and gentlemen, my name is StepsBasic, and welcome back to the Comfy Cozy Community Show. Yes, welcome back. So let's start off today with our question of the day before I forget. Question of the day for today: what sort of hobbies do you have? Do you have more than one? Do you have a lot? Do you like it? What is it? There's our question of the day. It seems like it's like 4 of them, but it's fine. And then let's move right along into comments for the last week. I had quite a few. First one, in Punishing Little Nightmares, we had longtime friend of the channel, Crazy Canuck. I hope one day I get to use all my knowledge of French imparted to me by the Canadian education system. Walk up in Paris like, what day is it? Where is the library? May I please use the bathroom? All while understanding none of the answers people give me. This is on the Doko Deska, Ekiwa Doko Deska video. Just nod and smile, say gracias, and walk away. That was my comment. He also replied on what happened to Steve with, haha, not Steve. Oh, poor Steve. Had someone commenting, good video, keep it up. Thanks, appreciate. The punnet square of the centaur, the punnet of the centaur. Yeah, he's right. I learned that in science class. I like that one. Why are you still wearing your prison-issued glasses? Now, these aren't the standard Navy ones that I got, but darn if they aren't darn close to it, right? Few people cheering on my ability to learn Japanese. Somebody took it personal, took that joke personally. It's like, I don't understand why a fully grown man or fully grown adult with 2 brain cells that can touch would be I don't even remember all of it was, but they took it like seriously. And I'm like, calm down, dude, it's a joke. I mean, granted, the joke, the setup for the joke was a little bit more serious, but still, it was the setup for a joke. The joke being, I don't understand Japanese. Of course, I have to admit, I lied. I actually did know what I was saying there. They also came back for some odd reason and decided to get huffy with me about something. Like I commented a while back on a video where somebody said, I can't believe they didn't get it. Oh yes, didn't get the joke. And I mentioned that, I talked about that before. And then for some reason, that I don't know if it's the same person. I'm not going to say it's the same person. But they came back with, nah, you're a fully grown man. Because my response was, nah, she got it. She just didn't care. and I thought that was another weird comment. Of course, my reply was, I am at that, nearing 40, in fact. What does that have to do with my use of the word nah? I don't know, man. Some people took some serious this time. Now, bear in mind, I don't usually like to give fuel to negative comments, but I did want to talk about this one in particular, in that this happens not just to me, obviously. Especially as we get older, people try to police our language and how we talk, and expect us all to talk prim, proper, and upright and upstanding and whatnot. Failing to understand that more often than not, we use words, language, etc., to convey our thoughts in the most successful manner, not the most intelligent manner. We don't have to sound like we just tripped and smashed our face into a dictionary. We can talk in slang, in shortened words, in language that is not exactly considered educated. I hate to use that term, but that is the one that's commonly accepted. We're allowed to talk how we want to talk. And honestly, I've been saying the word nah since before some people I know were even born. I've been saying that. I learned it from adults when I was a kid. That's where I got the word nah from. And of course, I'm talking about N-A-W, not N-A-H. Nah is boring, but nah, now that's a good word. But anyway, that's probably going to be the last time you'll ever see me read a negative comment on here, because I don't want to give fuel to people to think that it's an okay thing, or they just want to pursue like getting recognized on here because of their negativity. I don't like negativity. I may, however, occasionally address topics that negativity might bring up. So yeah, But forgive that. Anyway, so on to the day's topic. Ignoring the comments, thank you all so much for your comments. I appreciate them. But moving on to our next topic for today, hobbies. Now, I kind of want to do a series about this, talking about many different hobbies. And I wanted to start today with one that I'm kind of a little bit proud of at the moment. Now, I've talked before about things that I do in my off time, and I am a little bit weird, but I wanted to go more in depth about the hobby and talk more about what I'm doing, what I've learned, what I intend to do from here on out. And as such, I wanted to talk about knitting. Talk about people doing things that are not expected of them. You're looking at me like big old 6 foot tall, 275-pound man. I'm like, what? You're knitting? I'm like, yeah, man, I'm knitting. I love me some knitting. I picked this up a while back. When I was doing it on my other channel, I figured it'd be a fun little topic to learn how to knit. And as such, I learned how to knit. And one second. There we go. Put that in the right place so it's not going to be so awkward. Now, I learned how to do this, like I said, a while back when me and the kiddo on the other channel were just doing it on a one-off. Well, it was more like supposed to be a 3-off video. And we learned how to do this. Kiddo has since given up on it. And I did for a while, but then I'm like, you know what, I got the time, let me go ahead and relearn. And as such, I relearned. And I've been working on, well, a number of things. One in particular was a more of a practice, get used to it sort of thing, where I made the kiddo a bracelet with a little clock on it. And I might be able to put that up here. I have a picture of it on my phone, so I'll probably be able to send it to myself. And now I'm currently working on a scarf. Now, the funny part is, I like knitting because it is what I would call a brain dead sport. Now, what I say about that, I'm not saying that people who do it are brain dead. On the other hand, quite the opposite. I've seen some of the greatest little bits of art since I started learning how to do this. And I at first I thought it was just like, okay, you just knit and switch colors and whatnot, but I've seen so many beautiful patterns and different sculptures and whatnot, and it's amazing what people can do with knitting. But the reason I call it a brain dead one is because I can do this without thinking about it. Now, of course, there are points when I have to stop and think about what I'm doing. Now, this particular pattern, is strictly a knit pattern. Completely from start to finish, with the exception of casting on and casting off, just knit. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with the knit, which I'm talking about, I'm being like, isn't every knitting pattern just a knit pattern? No, I'm talking about knits and purls. And this one is strictly knit, whereas the opposite, or the other one, would be a purl. Now, I have learned how to do both knits and purls. Purl, by the way, is spelled P-U-R-L, not P-E-A-R-L, like I used to think. I like that this is a brain dead sport because I can do it. I can get into the flow. Now, for instance, I can get into the flow and just do this while watching TV, while listening to music, while narrating a video, or while, just doing anything else, really. As long as it doesn't require my hands. Like, I can't wash dishes I can't wash dishes while I can't wash dishes while knitting. Good Lord, man, that tongue, I tell you. And I'm going to rank a lot of my other ones by how brain dead I can be while doing it. But bear in mind that another reason why I love this is because, for 2 reasons. One, it's practical. Learning how to knit, learning how to sew, learning how to crochet, you can make things that are useful in your everyday life. I was going to say modern life, but everyday life. And that's a good skill to have, being able to make and create your own gear. Wrapped itself up. I don't think that every hobby has to be like that, though. So the utility of a hobby will not necessarily affect my judgment about how good the hobby is. Because, obviously, I like painting as well. And we're going to talk about that one at another point. But I like painting as well. And for painting, obviously, there's very little utility of it other than, decoration. Unless, of course, you want to talk about painting your house. But anyway, compared to things like sewing or knitting, where you can literally create your own clothing, I've got this backwards. No wonder it keeps getting caught. See what I told you, man? Like, it's brain dead in that when I get into the flow of things, it's fine, but you still got to pay attention because things go weird fast. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. The utility of it makes me happy. I like utility in my hobbies. Not every one of my hobbies, and utility does not determine whether or not I like a hobby, but it will give it some bonus points to make me enjoy it, which, comes with the knitting. Now, of course, as you can probably tell, especially if you knit anything in your life, I'm not exactly good at this yet. I have been working on this thing for, I want to say, about a month now, and I made a huge mistake at the beginning of it. And by huge mistake, I'm not lying, it's huge. See, the pattern originally called for casting on of 40 stitches, i.e. it's going to be roughly 40 stitches wide. Now, of course, bear in mind when I say roughly, that's based on a person who's going to successfully keep it at 40 stitches and not mess up. The big problem was I read the pattern below it because I have a book of patterns, and the pattern below it called for me to cast on 80 stitches. So I cast on 80 stitches for my scarf. And I'm sure you understand what that means. My scarf is twice as wide as it's supposed to be. Now, that's not really a problem, especially considering I'm a big guy. But it has taken, so far, twice as much thread as it was going to take before. Twice as much yarn as it was going to take before. And the funny part is that pumped it out to about, I want to say, 1.5 feet in width. So it's about 1.5 feet wide. Now, of course, that's a fun mistake that anyone could have made. But the fact that I am new to this and had no idea what 40 stitches would look like, or 80 stitches in this case, would look like, it seemed to me, I'm like, okay, that's fine. But you would have thought that after I had gotten to 50 to 60 stitches and been like, man, this is kind of wide. You think I would have been like, I'm doing something wrong. But no, I kept going until I was about halfway through before I switched colors. And I was like, man, this is going to be a chunky scarf. And then I looked back at the pattern of it, and I'm like, oh. So the funny part is, it's like cast on 40 stitches and then knit up to 4 feet. So there's going to be a 4 foot long to 4 foot long to 1.5 foot wide scarf. I'm 6'2". This is going to be a long scarf, even by my standards. Now, of course, I don't really wear scarves a whole lot, but I'm gonna wear this one. As you can tell, I'm working with black at the moment, but originally it was a blue scarf. As you can tell from the fact that I had to change over at one point. All right, let me finish this. Row off so I can talk more about the scarf itself. But hey, anyway, how have y'all been? Have you subscribed to the channel yet? I know you want to. You want to learn more about me, and you want to watch my video game stuff. Subscribing is actually really good for your health. I've heard people proclaim that when they subscribe to my channel, that they found out that all of their hemorrhoids were gone. And hemorrhoids, they're a real pain in the butt. Subscribing actually helped one of my subscribers get a girlfriend. Can you believe it? He subscribed to my channel. Next day, bam, married. I have no idea how it happened, but it happened. That's how you know it's good for you. Consider subscribing today. And boom, there we go. That's the last one. All right. There we go. Now, I got these little things on here to keep it from falling off. I don't really need it on this one. I mean, I've heard there's also keep from blunting it. but I don't really have that issue. But this also keeps the thread from falling off the end. So here we go. This is my scarf currently. It's going to be half blue, half black. So once I've got 2 feet of black, I will have finished the scarf. Now, bear in mind that as a person who has never knitted anything bigger than this before, this is the biggest thing I've ever done and the biggest accomplishment I have when it comes to knitting. As such, we need to recognize the fact that I am a beginner and do not know how I've done some of these things. Like, how the heck did I manage that? I don't even know what happened there, but it created this weird taper in it, and it's got a little bump. Now, of course, there's going to be the usual fails of dropped stitches and whatnot, but then there's this one too, which I don't understand how I did either, where I've got double stitches on the same row, and like, what happened there? I don't know. And of course, you know, all the other drop stitches throughout and whatnot. But as it's my first one, and it's strictly a knit stitch scarf, it's mine too, so I don't have to worry about embarrassing anybody else. I'm proud of it. I like it. It's great. So, how would I, as a knitter and hobbyist, rank knitting as a hobby? Well, it comes down to a few things. One, is it enjoyable? I, for one, find it quite enjoyable. It helps, keep my fingers moving, so I don't get like the need to do something because they're moving, they're doing something. It's versatile, i.e., it doesn't have to be a scarf. It doesn't have to be purely knit. It doesn't have to be just one thing. I can make so much things with it, so many things with it even. It's utilitarian, i.e., the things I make don't have to be decorative. So it has a high utilitarian appeal to it. I can use it. There is a potential to monetize it. I'm not really looking to do so because, in my opinion, monetizing things, especially something I'm slow at, not going to work out for me. Of course, bear in mind, again, I don't think that hobbies necessitate monetization. You can do a hobby without having to worry about if you can make money off of it. So ultimately, I have to give and the brain dead quality of it, meaning I can do other things while doing it, is pretty high up there. So overall, I'm going to rate this as a great hobby. I recommend you get into it. Mind you, bear in mind, again, it's not for everybody. But yeah, I like it, and I enjoy it, and I think anyone should do it, especially for the utilitarian properties of it. But anyway, that's it for that. So let's move on to announcements for today. I don't have a whole lot going on this week. Kiddo is back in school, and I kind of just want to take the week off, but I'm not gonna. I'm going to have another slow week, basically, where I just do one video a day. This is the video for today. Tomorrow we're going to do the Resident Evil, and then we're going to have Far Changing Tides to wrap out the week. And then next week we'll be back on schedule with 2 videos a day every day. Well, except of course for Saturday and Sunday. But that's all my announcements for today. That's all my topic. Everything's done. And yeah, thank you all so much for joining me for this episode of StepsBasic Gaming Community Show. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And if you poke that like button for me, you'd like to see more from me, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And of course, as always, you're more than welcome to leave a comment in the comment section down below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Oh, when I can, if I can, you know all that jazz. And tune in next time for another topic, another time. And until then, good night.